Thank you. Alongside Jane McLennan, Craig Button, and joined also by Kevin Sawyer. Fast, furious, and fun. That right there was playoff hockey. And Craig, let's begin with Mark Scheifele. Registers 3 points in Game 1, follows it up with 2 points in Game 2. Before the series even began, you said Mark Scheifele would be the key to the Jets having playoff success, and that has been on full display, hasn't it?
It has, and I think it was his time. I think all the experience, we talk about scar tissue, that he's gone through it. He's played against top players, and he understands so much better. I mean, I'm calling him Super Scheifele right now because he has been that dominant, that much of a force in the game. I mean, when you think about Mark, you think about the great skill. Here's the first goal of the game, but it's the courage, Jamie, driving to the net. He drives to the net again. Fowler takes him off his feet, a big collision in with Binnington. But it's everywhere he goes. Here's the winning goal. Defensively, Scheifele in great position and now bumps it up the boards. And then now he gets back into the play below the goal line and just a fantastic play under the stick of Fowler and slides it over to Perfetti. It was brilliance. And there were so many other great plays he made in this game all over the ice. Mark Scheifele is in beast mode. That's what the playoffs are about. He's there.
Your top players have to be your top players to have success. And in Game 1, he was dominant. He was the best player on the ice. Well, he followed it up in Game 2 with that exact same pedigree. He was physical. As you mentioned, the word courage, getting to middle ice. You know you're going to have to pay a price sometimes. Physically, you're going to get hit. You're going to get run into the goaltender. What has been on display, Mark Scheifele, is 200-foot game. Offensively, he's getting it done. Defensively, he's getting it done. The Winnipeg Jets have fallen right behind their leader, and he's led them to 2 back-to-back wins.
He sure has. And, Jamie, you hit the nail on the head there. It's something Adam Lowry talked about after the Game 1 as well, in that the stars need to be the stars. Now, of course, we also saw Scheifele pass Blake Wheeler for the most playoff points in Jets franchise history. He continues to add to that total, Kevin. What impressed you the most about his performance in Game 2, though?
You know, the buzzword for me is buy-in. This team over the last 2-3 years has bought into something much bigger than any individual. Mark Scheifele has led the way. Jamie talks about his 200-foot game. This guy is so much faster than I think a lot of people realize. I think he's tougher and stronger than a lot of people realize. He has 3 blocks in the game. He leads his team along with Brandon Tanev. The offense comes naturally, it feels to me, when Mark Scheifele plays a power forward style of game. There's been games this year through the regular season, big games. I'll tell you that there was a back-to-back against the Florida Panthers. The Jets got thumped down in Florida. The very next game in Winnipeg against the same team, he scored a hat trick. He was nasty. He showed his teeth. And when he does that, this team does not lose.
He was the X factor, noticeable all over the ice. You know who else has been very noticeable through these first 2 games? Kyle Connor. His goal was the difference maker on this night. Let's hear from him now.
About the goal, you're just waiting for the pass. When did you see that play kind of start happening?
Yeah, you know, Scheifele does a great job on the forecheck. He gets in and wins a lot of battles, and you know, just kind of chucked it down to Cole, and you know, just kind of sitting in that weak area, kind of in between the wingers, kind of in between the D. It's just kind of a soft spot, and you know, Fetz made a great pass, and I just tried to get off quick.
Kyle, I talked to a lot of guys that skate with you in the offseason back in Detroit, and a lot of guys come to you for shooting tips. What is it about your shot, your release, that's allowed you to score as much as you have, including this season with 41 goals?
I don't know. It's something I work on, you know, trying to be very versatile. You know, just working on a ton of different ways of receiving the puck and getting it off quick. And, you know, a lot of times these goaltenders are so good if they're able to adjust and get an angle on it. So more times than not, just get it off quick and, you know, you're going to find a hole.
Kyle, your last 20 playoff games, got 11 goal nods. You're really becoming a playoff monster, transforming, you know, your regular season success to the postseason. How has the postseason felt differently to you as your career's gone on? What's different when you say it was your first or second Stanley Cup playoff?
Yeah, you know, over the years, I think this team, we just kind of have grown through the years and kind of learned that, you know, what it takes for us when it's right, what it looks like. You know, it was a tight checking game today. There really wasn't a ton of offense, and you just got to stick with it. It's more of a mentality for us and for me. And you know, you're only going to get a couple chances. You got to make the most of it.
Kyle, that one was physical, especially the first half of the game. How did it feel to you guys out there?
I lost you there. Can you repeat that?
It was so physical, especially the first half of the game. How did it feel to you guys out there?
Yeah, you know, it's intense. You know, their lives are on the line, so is ours. You know, we got guys that, you know, they excel at that. you know, obviously we saw Stanley's hit, it created a ton of momentum, but everybody does it every single shift. And, you know, over the course of a 7-game series, it can pay dividends. And, you know, every shift, you never know when the moment's going to be, and you just got to be locked in and focused, and those hits can add up.
Go celebrate with the boys, Kyle. Well done.
All right, thanks, guys.
The Jets have
Well,
2
speaking
games.
of celebrations, after a commanding 2-1 win, here is Luke Schenn.
You know what? No, he's been just improving each and every day, and he's done a great job. You know, not chasing hits, but taking the hits when they're there and being heavy and you know, using his size advantage down low and in front of the net. And then on top of that, I think he's moving the puck pretty efficiently as well. So yeah, there's definitely some growth there for sure. And yeah, I mean, you know, I've been in similar situations earlier on in my career too, where you know there's adversity and you know you're trying to find yourself a little bit and gain a little confidence and trust. And you know he's doing a great job right now, and you know he's a huge part of things. And you know you can't teach obviously size like that. When you put it all together, it can be really effective.
One of the reasons this team went out to get you was for games exactly like that, but I wonder your thoughts on how this team, outside of you, we see how you handle it, but how this team handles games like that that get dragged into the alley right out of the bat.
Yeah, I mean it's fun. It's this is what you play for, and you know when games are this physical and this tight and the compete level so high on both teams, these are the ones you love and you want to be a part of. And you know after a game you go home and you feel sore, and it's a good sore. It's you know, and a good tired. Obviously, you know when you come away with a win, it doesn't, you know, obviously it hurt as much. But I mean, yeah, it's every battle means so much in the corners and in front of the net, and you got to keep your head on a swivel and not check out for any second out there, because chances are you're probably going to get hit, and you got to protect yourself too. So, yeah, you got to give a few, take a few, and yeah, it's these are the fun ones, and you know, playoffs separates the men from the boys.
What do you think of the Lucas better chance that he's heard? A really good game one and a lot more tonight.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it. No, I mean. Actually, I was laughing because I was trying to figure out in game one what the heck they're saying, and then as they were chanting it, puck goes off my foot and I get scored on. So it was I guess karma. So maybe no. I mean, obviously, you know, Braden's had a heck of a career as well too, and you know he's been around a long time and won himself too, and I think you know Jets fans would appreciate having him on this side too. So I appreciate the support from our fans for sure. And you know, at the end of the day, I'm sure you know my parents are sitting in the crowd. They don't even know what to think.
Compared to game one, how do you feel you guys played?
You know, yeah, I mean, it's just hard fought hockey. I think like you know our penalty kill did a better job tonight. Obviously gave up one at the end of the first there, which stung a little bit, but resilient and bounced back, and then just stuck with it. They had some looks for sure, and you know they had some ozone time. It's just everyone's giving it everything they have for sure, and it's you know for 2 games in, you know, especially after the second game, or after the first game I should say, into the second game, it's just another level as far as the intensity out there, the speed, and you know you just keep putting your head down and keep grinding, and you know trying to battle for every guy in this room.
Their late push never came, it seemed. You see frustration from them already? Or?
I mean, no, you know, you give them credit. They're trying to throw everything they can at us, and I think you know we try to play a solid defensive game too. So you want to stay within your structure. You don't want to chase the game. You don't want to panic and sit back, and you just got to keep pushing forward. So I don't know if you could say there's no push or not. I felt the whole game. Both teams are pushing.
Why did you guys win both third periods in this series so far?
Why? You know, you just try to continue to get better as the game goes on. Obviously, we didn't love our start the last game, and today was okay. I mean, starts are big, but you know they came out hard. They're a proud group. They're flying and physical, and had some looks. And you know, you don't want to shy away from anything. You don't want to get off your game plan. You just kind of stay the course. That's really all there is to it, and continue to you know chip away at it. And obviously, we're getting some timely goals from some really elite players. So you know. It's far from over. It's you know 2 games. We're gonna enjoy this one tonight, but you know St. Louis is an extremely tough building to play in as well too. So it's going to be a great atmosphere, and you know, we'll have to prepare for the next one. Okay.
I love what he said. It's a good sore. It's a good tired. It's a hard-fought win. Yes, the Winnipeg Jets, rather, are commanding 2-0 series lead right now. And, Jamie, we talk about the offensive contributions from Mark Scheifele and Kyle Connor. You also have to give a lot of credit to Connor Hellebuyck because he looked really uncharacteristic in that Game 1 win. I mean, he allowed 3 goals on 10 shots early on in that game. Real bounce-back performance on this night.
And especially early on. So we talked about Mark Scheifele and what he's able to do. Well, you're not able to settle into the game if you don't get the big saves early on from Connor Hellebuyck. And yes, he may not have had his A game in Game 1. Well, he certainly had it in Game 2. And you could just tell the body language, the positioning, rock solid, a little bit more aggressive instead of passive. I thought he was a little bit more passive in Game 1. In Game 2, he was just dialed in, set. And a lot of times you can tell a goaltender is feeling good because there's not a lot of motion in their game, not a lot of motion in their feet. You could see Hellebuyck just set. The pucks were hitting him, dying him. He was good with his rebounds. And a couple of grade A opportunities that the Jets gave up. It was Hellebuyck that was the difference, especially early on, that allowed the Jets to settle into their game, and then everybody else took off after that.
You, Jamie, you know as a former goaltender, when a goaltender really is certain in his position and certain in what he's seeing, and you're the quality of Connor Hellebuyck, you're going to make those saves. And to me, you talked about it as we were watching the game. You just said, like, he's on it.
Yeah,
and you know, and when you're dialed in like that, and we know Connor Hellebuyck gets dialed in like nobody else, back-to-back Vezina Trophy winner. Yeah, I'm giving him the Vezina already. But I mean, that's what great goaltending means you forget about what happened and just get focused on the next one. Whether it be last game, whether it be the previous 10 games, he has shown that he's quality.
Absolutely. Now, something else on full display in this game, of course, was the physicality. We know back in Game 1, the Blues out-hit the Jets 53-33. And, Kevin, this was noticeable off the hop. It was a fast game, and it was a physical game, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was looking for a pushback here from Winnipeg. Listen, there's really no area of the Winnipeg Jets game that isn't stable and balanced when they're right. And they were right in this game for a majority of the 60 minutes played. Listen, the hits came from the right people. The gap was loose in the first 40 minutes in Game 1. It was much tighter in this game. That allowed the defensemen to stand up more for the Winnipeg Jets and give hits. They had 15 of the 33 hits. Logan Stanley had a couple of whoppers, didn't he? Josh Morrissey, again, defenseman, standing up, making the right hits at the right time. The key here is they're not chasing hits. And you look at the third line with Adam Lowry, Mason Appleton, and Brandon Tanev. They had 11 hits combined from the 3 of them. So it was the positioning that stood out for me that allowed the Jets to play to their identity, and they made the right hits at the right time, and it came from the right men. It stood out.
Well, also you talk about the physicality. I think there were guys that went right through the lineup as well. It wasn't just, you know, your heavy defensemen. You know, yes, Luke Schenn and Braden Schenn going head-to-head, but I'm talking about Logan Stanley, guys that really stood up and wanted to be physical. So it was physical on both sides, and nobody was giving an inch. And when you talk about playoff hockey, every piece of ice on that 200-foot by 80 is contested. And we saw that early on, and it continued right through the game. We were all sitting there talking about it. Oh, this first period, there might be a dip in the second period. If anything, it ramped up. So the physicality was unbelievable all night long.
I love the physicality because I love the give and take. You know, whoever was giving, the other side had to take, and then it got reversed. And how many times did the players, every time, they just bounced right back up and said, hey, we got work to do. We got to get back right into play. That's also not only the heaviness and the hardness of the playoffs, it's also the respect for what needs to happen. If winning was easy, everybody would do it. And that wasn't easy to play in that game for either team, for any player.
No, absolutely. That was a noticeable response from the Winnipeg Jets when it came to physicality. Back-to-back wins at home. Meanwhile, for the St. Louis Blues, they find themselves in an 0-2 hole. Let's hear from the head coach, Jim Montgomery.
You know, Winnipeg's made one more play than us, you know, both games. Shots are dead even, you know, so they're just making one more play, and their best players are making them.
And just quick follow-up, that one play tonight, what did you see on the goal? It looked like Binnington lost his stick, but Connor wide open. What did you see from your perspective?
I thought we had good puck pressure on the play up top, and I think that play should be killed behind the net by us. And then we got to be able to cover. I mean, we want to force the puck up high versus allowing 81 to get a shot from the hash marks.
You got the early power play goal, but it seems like the later power plays maybe not as effective. Did there changes on Winnipeg's side or things you guys weren't doing in the power play?
I don't think we were shot focused enough. I do think we had some really good looks, and we didn't execute either the pass or, more importantly, the shots. And I thought Hellebuyck made a couple of big-time saves.
On the Jets' first goal, you had a line change. Was it just you needed a line change, but was it ill-advised, or did you just not play it well after that?
I don't think all 4 out of 5 guys changed. And then we didn't execute. We have a plan when we have wholesale changes like that, and we didn't execute very well defending that.
Is the decision to go with 11 and 7 today? What went into that?
I just thought that some of our really talented forwards didn't get enough ice time last game. And I thought we could get some favorable matchups just because they'd be out there more, and our offensive players getting a really good rhythm. And I thought they did. I thought they were feeling the puck a lot better. And I think it also allows our depth of our defensemen, which is really deep, to be able to use 7 of those guys, and it allowed us to be a little more physical.
With these games being so close, and you talk about they making one more play, what do you guys have to do to swing it, to make that extra play?
Well, we're going to have the last line change now. We're going to go home. We're going to be in front of our frenzy crowd, and we're going to have an opportunity to hold serve at home. We got to get to game 3.
Just big picture, you just touched on it there, but how do you see the situation? I mean, it's 2-0, but the games obviously have been close. Does that bode well when you're trying to stay in a series that you know you can play with them and maybe some small adjustments can help?
Yeah, I think as a group, we're not happy to be down 2-0, but the games are really close. There's not much separation going on right now. We need to make a separation. We need to find another level here when we go home so that we can end up on top by a goal.
When you look at the goals they've gotten, they've been some, I would say, they got a deflection in the game today. I think the first goal with Snuggerud slams into Binnington and knocks it in. Do you take anything from that and how they've gotten their goals?
Well, I do think that they've been harder at the net front than we have offensively. And that's, that's net hunger. Our net hunger needs to increase. Thank you.
Switching back to the Jets, let's hear now from Dylan DeMello and Cole Perfetti. You had the assist on Kyle Connor's game-winning goal.
Just staying to the script, just playing our game, not getting, outside of ourselves, and just staying in the moment. And just confidence in our abilities and our mindset, and confidence in our style of play, and not beating ourselves. Just keep doing what we're doing, and the message has been great each period. Just keep doing what we're doing on the ice, and work for our chances, and we were able to get it tonight and lock it down.
Another big goal from Kyle Connor, and part of it starts with the play that Cole wins in the corner, and you guys work it around. What was your view of that, and Cole's play, Kyle's play, all of it?
Yeah, it was great forecheck. We got the puck, went low to high, D to D, kind of spread them out. And we reset it back down, and Scheifele and Fetz won their battle, and KC is so good at finding that quiet ice, and it was a great look by Fetz, and you give it to the right guy, he's going to put it in the net.
One for each of you. Maybe start with you. How did you feel you guys played compared to game 1?
Yeah, I think there were some things, first 2 periods, that we did well, some things that we could improve on, and I think that third period was a really solid period by both teams. We were just able to find that one, and kind of able to hold on to the lead. Bucky made some big saves for us. He was dialed in, and Binnington played great too down there. So we knew it was going to be a tight checking game, and that's what we expect from them. And again tonight we were able to get that one and lock it down.
Their push never seemed to come. How did your tight checking? How did you see it affecting them?
Yeah, I think we were just frustrating them. We weren't giving them much ice, and we were just being patient with it and making them come through us, and we didn't give that middle of the ice away. And I think it's frustrating to play against when you play like that. And we were able to, keep them on the outside. And when they did get a chance, like Dylan said here, it was Bucky made a great save, and it was a great defensive performance.
Cole, how would you describe the subtle play Mark makes before the puck gets to you on the goal, the way he gets inside position on Fowler, and then what did you see to find the lane for Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, Scheifele is so smart when it comes to that body positioning, getting inside a guy or just making a little poke on the puck, and he was able to get the guy's stick and then make just a little poke, and that was all that he needed to, for the puck to come to me and create that little bit of space. And I knew that I had a little bit of time, and like Smokey said, KC finds the right pockets of the ice, how to get open, and I just made a quick look, and he was wide open, and then he makes a great shot. So it was a great play.
Dylan, how do you describe the hit from Logan?
And continuing to break down the Jets' 2-1 win, now with a commanding 2-0 series lead. And Jamie, we talked about the bounce-back performance from Connor Hellebuyck. Of course, going into this series, we knew one of the big storylines would be the goalie battle between Hellebuyck and Jordan Binnington. As we know, Binnington lives for the big moments. What did you think about his performance in Game 2? All in all, fairly solid.
Absolutely. This was a goaltender's duel because the score could have been a lot higher. As much as Connor Hellebuyck was unbelievable in the first period, Jordan Binnington had a couple grade A chances against. It was fantastic. He gave his team an opportunity. And if you look at it, both goaltenders probably didn't have their best games in Game 1. And somebody's got to lose, and Hellebuyck comes out on top in Game 1. No better save than this one on Appleton on the back door. I thought it was a fantastic play. Binnington is a fiery competitor. He's aggressive, and he makes no apologies for it. And listen, the Winnipeg Jets, we were talking about how hard they drive the middle ice, how hard they were going to the net. There's been lots of contact with Jordan Binnington, and surprisingly, he's kept his cool. There hasn't been a fight. He hasn't dropped his gloves. He hasn't gone at anybody. But Jordan Binnington is certainly, you cannot lay these losses at his feet. In this game, it was a goaltender's duel. He was fantastic. Hellebuyck was just one save better.
And so far, Noodles, little asterisk there. So far, there hasn't been any drama in any fights. We're only two games through this series. We just heard Dylan DeMello talk about how the Jets have improved drastically, even though it's only 2 games, a very small sample size. But we also saw that when it came to the penalty kill, Craig. That was something you said even before this game. The Jets really needed to hone in on, and that was on full display.
It was on full display, despite the fact that the St. Louis Blues scored with 0.8 seconds left on the power play. You think about how you have to dial in. Like, Kevin Sawyer always uses the term connected. Like, you got to be connected, understand what they were connected. Pressure, next guy into space, puck down the ice. You got to be committed to blocking shots. You got to be understanding that every little battle, Luke Shen talked about it post-game, every little battle matters. And that's what penalty killing is all about. They've taken their penalty killing and improved it despite giving up a power play goal against in this one. But Kevin, watching this team, that it's been something that they've had to work on over the course of this season, and it looked really, really strong in this game.
That's an area for sure. I think they came into this season with power play and penalty kill that needed to improve. The Jets still finished, Craig, mid-pack on the penalty kill, but if you look at the last 10 games or so of the regular season, Dean Chenoweth, who's in charge of the penalty kill, they were rock solid. They really improved in that area, and like you said earlier, and I'm with you, the power play is important, but the penalty kill is a must if you want to win a Stanley Cup. It's an area for sure that they've improved on, and they're going to continue to look to improve. It's an important piece.
Something else we noticed during this game, Kevin, was just how it was more of a complete team performance. Back in Game 1, Scott Arniel talked about how the Jets looked really nervous off the hop. It took them a while to really find their feet and get their game going. Someone that you could not help but notice on this night, Logan Stanley.
I'll tell you, I've watched this team. This is the first rounder from 2016, and the Winnipeg Jets, to their credit, have lived patiently and through some pain in developing while they're trying to win with Logan Stanley. He's had some good games throughout the course of this season, and he's had some not so good games. But I give a lot of credit to Scott Arniel and the coaching staff for sticking with him. And you know what? Tonight, he was a monster. He's a one of one. He's 6'7". He's 230 plus pounds. He's aware, his awareness in his own zone, making a simple play that's in front of him, not chasing the game, and then patiently lurking and almost predatory in some ways. And I mean that as a compliment, making the right hits at the right time. And man, he blew a couple guys up. When I play against teams that have someone like that on the other side of the ice. It's like, oh God, I got to go against this guy every single shift. He made an impact. He was noticed, and for me, he shaped the way the game was played. 2 huge hits and a really stable game.
Yeah, that one on Kyrou was absolutely massive, using that big 6'7" physical frame. And Kevin, you said it yourself. Give credit to the coaching staff. Case in point, let's hear from head coach Scott Arniel.
There's been a lot of those moments over the course of the season where it's we've had great first periods and blew a team out, or we've had to wait. You know, it's taken us with our 6-on-5 at the end, or it's had to go to overtime, whatever it might be, that we just keep stressing about that plays that happen over a course of a game. It might happen in the first, might happen in the third. It's exactly what Cole said, is that every play does matter. You know, I was a little upset there at the end of the first period because I thought that was a kill. I thought we had done it perfect. I thought that you know, we had the puck in the corner with 15 seconds left, and to me it was just every play matters, and you don't know how big it's going to be at the end of the game. And so you know, the other night we scored late to win it. You know, tonight obviously our third period again was really solid, and that's what playoff hockey is. You know, one team's going to make a mistake. You want to put as much pressure and do the things that you do well, and force those teams to make that mistake.
I'm just curious, you know, in a game like that, that's physical, hard and heavy, to have a pairing of Stanley and Schenn deliver the way that they did physically, how much of an advantage is that in a series? We have a pair that kind of plays similar to one another and executes like that.
Yeah, I mean, those are 2 intimidating guys out there, and you know, like when we got Luke there, and it's the same with Stan. We want people to go the long way around to get to our net front, and if they're going in the corners to get pucks, we want to make sure that they know that it's not going to be an easy ride. But that's everybody. I don't, you know, those 2 that obviously jump out at you, especially with a couple of big hits. But that's everybody. I think our group our compete level is where it needs to be for playoff hockey. You know, it's something we talked about from the very beginning, that it isn't just our big guys, our big heavy guys. It has to be everybody. And I thought our puck battles were real strong tonight. It started in the first period, you know, on the walls, net fronts, off face-offs. You know, those areas, there was a lot of areas that we were certainly a lot stronger.
What did you see from the PK when the game was on the line?
Did the job. They got the job done. I don't care how it kind of goes about. Like I said, we had a great kill going there at the end of the first. We just kind of took our foot off the gas, you know, and they made a bang play. And at the end of the day, all the other ones, though, I thought we did a fantastic job of being in sync. They all have their kind of different looks to them. St. Louis has great puck movement. They do a good job of finding the weak side of the ice, and just us being able to recognize that and get back, you know, get in the next lane, so to speak, not allowing it, whether that's a shot or a pass. We just did a real good job of reading off each other.
2 really big effort plays by Scheifele, the net drive, and also 2, how would you describe the subtlety of his ability to get inside position on Fowler in order to get the puck to Cole before the winner?
Well, that's your best players, you know, playing at the top of their game, and that's what Scheifele has done. You know, I mean, you can see that he's taken on that challenge. He's going head-to-head against their best player, and whether it's defending or whether he's offense with the puck, he has a strong skill set that we have seen all 82 games, and now he's taken it into this playoff series. And when your best players are your best players, you know, that certainly goes a long way towards you helping win hockey games.
Scott, we spent all year talking about the evolution of Dylan Samberg, and part of the frustrating style that you guys played in the third was his ability to shut plays down at the blue line. What did you think of his performance? Yeah, they got a real good quick transition game. In the first period, we got caught a couple times with their D jumping in the rush. But when our D can be gapped and we can hold that, when we sort of defend from the blue line out there, when we don't allow teams to get like this, like St. Louis with their skill set, to allow them to get inside, to cut and go east-west. And that's where Sammy's really good. He's got great feet. But I thought our D did a really good job early on in the game. Even when they did have the odd man rushes, that we did a good job of playing above the blue line and trying to slow it up so that our trackers could get themselves back. And, you know, Sammy, we know he's got a real good pair of feet that helps him do that. And I'd imagine there's no better way to
Scott Arniel really hitting the nail on the head, saying that was playoff hockey. And Kevin, that was also a perfect example of the Jets' identity on full display. So now the President's Trophy winners have a commanding 2-0 series lead as they head to St. Louis. How do they keep their foot on the gas pedal and keep this momentum going?
Yeah, Scott Arniel has said all year long, and it almost became redundant, but it was the truth, where they had the ability, the Winnipeg Jets did, whether they played a good or bad period, good or bad game, they would have the ability to reset and start again. Listen, Lindsay, I've been around this team now for 8 years. Over the last 3 of those years, I'm shocked in some ways to see the change in culture. This team was humbled when Rick Bowness came to town, along with Scott Arniel, and they rebuilt a mature group. Off the ice, I can guarantee you this team will not overlook the St. Louis Blues. They will not be satisfied. They'll look at what they liked, and they'll try to build on that. They'll look at what they didn't like, and they will try to improve on that. To me, that's the mark of a winning team. The Winnipeg Jets, with Scott Arniel's leadership, have been so mature all year long. 56 wins, 116 points, the fewest goals against. That's consistency, and that's the ability to reset, and let's do it all over again.
If you could bottle up both third periods of games 1 and 2, I mean, that's exactly what Winnipeg Jets hockey is. I mean, it's forward thinking, it's driving the net, a goaltender save when it's needed, your top players. So I don't think you change anything. And you heard Scott Arniel, you heard Jim Montgomery talking about last change, all of that type of stuff. I think Scott Arniel trusts everybody that he puts out there on the ice to do a job, to play within structure, to play within the system. And they're going to have to do that on the road.
Well, you hear the players talk about trusting the system, trusting the process. You hear Scott Arniel, and it's all true. But also, this team, after having been beat up in the last 2 playoff series they played in Vegas and Colorado, they are showing that they have learned significant lessons. Lessons that allow you to win and lessons that will allow you to win again. It's not going to be easy in St. Louis, but guess what? The Winnipeg Jets know that. They know that from their experience, and you see the growth of the team, you see the growth of the group. I think that's a real positive.
And Craig, they've spoken about that, the scar tissue of early exits in playoffs past. And how about this? In the past 2 years, the Jets lost Game 2 by identical scores of 5-2 to both Vegas and Colorado. But now, with a 2-0 series lead as the series action shifts to St. Louis, they are already trying to write a different narrative.